Welcome to the Empowered Brilliance, the podcast that celebrates authentic leadership and the voices that inspire it. I'm your host, Khatera, and today we are exploring one of the most powerful yet often overlooked tools in leadership, your voice. Our guest today knows exactly how to help you find and elevate that voice. He is a BBC-trained executive voice coach with years of experience helping leaders, speakers, and changemakers unlock their vocal potential. From mastering public speaking and presentation skills to transforming nerves into confidence, he is known for helping good speakers become great speakers. Today we are unlocking our leadership brilliance with our icon of impact, David Pope. Let's comment, connect, and inspire. David, welcome to the Empowered Brilliance. It's such a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks a lot. David, let's start with something every leader wrestles with, finding the balance between authenticity and authority. How do you help leaders sound both genuine and confident on the same time without that they are doing a performance?
Okay, so yes, it's about that balance. It's about the balance of being genuine and authentic and performing. So I've worked with thousands of people globally across a huge range of industries. And from that experience, I know that there are three things that will help you to become an exceptional speaker. The first one is your voice, being able to convey power, authority, but also to be warm and engaging. Presence, being able to command the attention of single listeners or entire rooms. And the final piece, which is about being able to deliver the message, crafting, maybe storytelling as well. So the whole idea of getting your message across. Now, all of these three things, which is basically the voice, the presence, and the delivery, you cannot do this as a performance.
Yes.
So what I do is when I'm working with leaders, I'm basically getting them to understand how to be natural and how to be authentic in their delivery. Because when they do that, when you align those three things, then the authenticity comes out and then the confidence comes out. And that is what turns, as you very correctly said at the beginning, a good speaker into a great speaker.
Yes, and you are helping everyone in becoming great speakers.
Yes.
Can you share a story of someone whose presence completely shifted through a very small vocal exercise?
So there have been so many over the years, to be honest. And let's think, probably the one that really stands out was about 8 or 9 years ago. So I think there's pressure on everybody not only to perform well in our job, but to actually sound good while we're doing it, because we need to engage, we need to have that confidence when we're communicating. But the good news is we don't have to make drastic changes. So even small changes can have a big impact. Yes. And so, for example, if your voice is maybe just a little bit louder, people will begin to see you as a more confident speaker. So this relates back to something that happened to me with a senior leader that I was working with. I think it was about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
And she was quite quiet. She didn't have that power of the voice. So specifically, she wanted to work on increasing her volume, which would give her more confidence. Now, my whole methodology is around recording the voice, analyzing it, and then giving feedback. And what happened was when we were recording and analyzing her voice, she actually broke down and started crying.
Oh, wow.
And I said to her, well, what's this all about? And she said, I'm just crying tears of joy. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I've found this authentic voice. I didn't know that I had this power inside me. But the very interesting thing as well that I saw happening was also her stature as well, because when she began with me, the body was quite closed, but as she found that powerful voice, her body opened up more and more. It's like she was really discovering something. So the idea was that connection of the voice and the presence. And the interesting thing is now, I still work with her, and she hires me now when she's doing keynote speeches, she's speaking at conferences.
Amazing.
This is somebody who 8 years ago just did not have that confidence.
So this is a great transformation.
Oh, absolutely. And that's all about just hearing her own voice, yeah.
Amazing. And I love it when you do this winner pose. We will demonstrate it maybe later at the end. You have this winner pose at the beginning for every, meeting or conferences or panel discussions when you want to go on stage. And this is something maybe it will help a lot. David, there is so much bias around what a leader should sound like. Deep, polished, or a certain accent. What are some of the biggest vocal stereotypes that hold people back?
Yeah, the stereotypes. I think there's that the stereotype of a leader's voice is it's deep, it's strong, it's resonant. It's very much that sort of authority voice, which is very cliched. So there's somebody called Elizabeth Holmes, and she's the ex-CEO of a company called Theranos, and she's actually now in prison for fraud.
Okay.
But if you look at old videos of her, when she was being interviewed, when she was on shows, when she was pitching, her voice pitch was so low that it was completely phony. It's see-throughable. And I don't know if that was because her wanting to be part of that whole sort of startup scene, which, predominantly men, so she felt that she had to adapt that style.
Okay.
But, I've been very blessed to work with people from the Middle East and across APAC for many, many years. So I've had the privilege of working with senior leaders in many countries and across many cultures. And I can honestly say that a lot of the people I work with, they are not using those stereotypical voices, and they are just as effective as leaders.
Okay. You often say you don't have to sound like Obama or Oprah, and they're, of course, excellent speakers. But I love that, how you say it. You say like you don't have to sound like them to lead and to shine. Why do many professionals try to copy famous faces instead having their own voice or their own type of personality?
Well, I think it's interesting. Yes, a lot of people, they say, I want to talk like A, I want to speak like B, I want to be like C. And that's absolutely fine. But I think it's useful that we have a benchmark. In the world of business communication, we need to be effective speakers. So it's good to have a benchmark, but to actually copy that person and try and sound like them, it's not going to work, because we've all got our own unique voices.
Yes.
And Obama speaks like Obama, and that's his voice.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's had years of voice coaching. A lot of people think, it's just going to happen. It doesn't. You need to put the work in.
So he was not born with it. He has been coached.
Definitely.
To be such a powerful
absolutely.
speaker, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you have to create your own personality also with your own voice and have your own type of, way to speak and
absolutely.
to present.
Yes, it's all about your
But
own
you can get inspired by
authenticity.
excellent speakers like him, and
it's
or even
fine
Oprah.
to have that as a benchmark,
Yeah.
but it's about playing to your own strengths, understanding your strengths, and of course your areas for development.
Of course, yes. You've been coached thousands of leaders, but I imagine your own relationship with your own voice have evolved too. What's your own journey been like in early doubts or discoveries that shaped your work?
My early journeys, wow, my doubts and discoveries. Well, I started off at the BBC many years ago. And I was very fortunate. I trained in audio production, so in the editing suite. So I've been involved with audio and sound for many, many years. So I was working on feature films, I was working on documentaries. When I moved to Hong Kong, where I've been settled for quite a few years, I became an audio producer and a studio director. In fact, I worked out the other day, I've done about, I think, 30,000 hours of being in the recording studio. So, I really understand the nuances of people's voices. But there was an incident, and it was around 25 years ago. So, as I said, doing a lot of studio directing and audio producing. And it was one of those situations where the professional voiceover talent, he was off sick. And I had to go into the audio booth. I had to replace him. And I had doubts, could I do this? Because I'm very good at directing people, but, could I do it myself?
Yeah.
So I went into the studio, and not only did I discover that I enjoyed it, I actually discovered I was quite good at it. And thus began a secondary career where I was doing voiceover work myself. I was dubbing films. I was doing TV commercials, corporate videos. So,
Amazing.
And that was a doubt that I had, am I good enough? And I discovered that actually, I can do it.
Discovered your strength, in which you're very good, and such a powerful voice you have. Yes, amazing. It is very strange, David, that some people hate the sound of their voice after recording, and they cringe when they hear their own voice. What can they do to start liking, or at least trusting their own voice? Is there any trick or technique?
So first of all, let's think about why people don't like their voice. So I always ask this question in workshops that I'm running, if they're around voice and the communication skills. And I will ask the question, put your hand up if you like the sound of your voice when you hear it on a recording.
Okay.
And I can honestly say, after so many years of running these workshops, hardly anybody puts their hand up.
Oh, wow.
Now, why is that? It's about the science of the voice, because the voice that we hear when we're speaking is not the voice that other people hear. So voices are like sound waves. So when somebody speaks, the sound comes through the air into our ears. But when we speak, we not only hear the voice that comes into our ears, but we feel the vibration comes up through our stomach area, up into our chest, into our head. So this is why we think that we're deeper and more resonant than we actually are. And so when we hear ourselves on a recording, we get a little bit of a surprise, right? The voice is a bit weaker, a little bit tinnier, it's got a little bit more treble. Now, you said to me, how can we learn to maybe sort of love our voice and get used to it? I can honestly say the only thing you have to do is record yourself. Just record yourself and play it back, because this is exactly how other people hear you. So we all make judgments about people based on the sound of the voice, and the way that we make judgments about other people, people will make judgments about us.
Of course.
So what we need to do is we need to record our voice. Certainly if we're preparing for anything high stakes, we record the voice, we play it back, and that gives us the data. And the data is, for example, are we speaking too quickly? Are we putting too many ers, filler words in? Are we saying it very, very long when we could say it in a very short way and get to the point? So this gives you the data. This is really, really important. And once you understand that, then you can start really understanding how effective you are as a speaker.
Okay, excellent. High-stakes moments can really shake us. Presentations, interviews, big moments. What are a few proven ways to ground yourself and project confidence under pressure? Do you have any technique or anything you can share with us for the audience?
So, I mean, the pressure piece, I think it's very natural to feel nervous. So there's a word, it's called glossophobia. Glossophobia is the fear of public speaking. And as they always say that people fear public speaking more than they fear death.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure if I agree with that, but hey. So being nervous is very natural. The adrenaline is very natural. And in a way, it focuses us. But if it goes too far, or for example, when cortisol is released, cortisol is that rush that you're getting where the mouth goes dry, you start sweating, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases. So what we need to do is we need to do calming exercises, and that can ground us for those moments of pressure. So I will walk people through, if I'm getting them ready for, I don't know, like as I mentioned, high stakes events. So
right.
a global town hall, I work with TEDx speakers. So I'll walk them through a process. And the process is basically we begin with doing work around grounding. So this is about how we ground the body. The second part is about opening the body.
Yes.
The third is about the breathing piece. It's about taking the breath a little bit lower. And the fourth part is about articulation, which is the clarity in speech. So I take them through a whole process.
So it's a long process, yes, of course, to be really a great speaker.
Yeah.
And if you like to share some exercise, you can do that as well.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the ones that I will do, if the person has an understanding of the diaphragmatic breathing, and so for the focus of this, imagining if we're breathing in and the stomach is coming out like a balloon, right? So we're breathing in, the stomach comes out. So that's what we call diaphragmatic breathing.
Yes.
The reason that I get people to do this is, first of all, if we think about what happens to a speaker's voice when they get nervous. So two things happen. Number one, they get faster when they're speaking.
Yeah.
Number two, the pitch of the voice goes up. So this exercise is about trying to lower and ground that breath. It's also there to connect the voice to the breath as well. So if people are a little bit nervous and the pitch is going up. So if they were to introduce themselves, it might be sort of, hi everybody, my name's David. Today, that's that nervous
the voice
speaker.
going higher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I will get people to put the finger in the squishy bit here, right? And then what we do, we breathe in so the stomach comes out. So, and then what I do is I go, huh. So I'm exercising the muscles here, the intercostal muscles. I'm taking in the breath and I'm lowering the voice. So if I did that, and then I speak, good afternoon, everybody. My name is David, and it's great to be here. Can you hear the difference, right? You've got that slightly lower tone. It's got resonance. It's got richness. And this is really designed if people are getting a little bit nervous, it brings that voice down, which emanates into that sort of that power.
That's a powerful technique.
Yeah,
yes,
it's great. It works
difference.
every time.
Huge difference, yes.
Yeah.
It's making you also relax automatically.
It really does. It
nervosity
focuses
is gone.
everything. It grounds you, focuses the brain, the mind, gets you into that moment. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for this. David, what makes a voice really captivating?
What is a captivating voice? So if we keep this within the business context where we're trying to convey authority, but also to be authentic.
Yes.
So I talk a lot about gravitas when I'm working with people. So for me, a captivating voice is a balance. So it's a balance of authority, but it's not too much, because if you're too authoritative, it becomes too strong.
Yeah.
So you balance that with energy. And then you have the confidence piece, and then you balance that with being a warm delivery, because the authority and warmth, they sort of counteract each other. And underlining, really, it's just thinking about, are you an engaging speaker? And do you have that warmth and that energy in the voice? And when you combine all of these elements, this really does lead to a charismatic delivery, a charismatic voice.
Amazing. And is charisma something we are born with, or can it be developed? Because some people have a very special charisma, and when they talk, it's like people are completely quiet after listening to them. Because
and
they
again,
have
when I'm working with people,
presence.
they'll say, like I said earlier, I want to speak like A, I want to speak like B. And I say, why? And so, when they walk into the room, they light it all up. They have that energy, they have that inspirational voice. So charisma, some people do, yes, they have it naturally. But the other piece of charisma is about, if you look it up in the dictionary actually, when they talk about charisma is about the power to influence. So you can learn charisma. So Aristotle, in 300 BC, he came up with this theory. He called it Aristotle's tools of persuasion. And he came out with this theory that the way that we can influence people is through three things. The first thing is through logos, the logic piece, that's the facts and the figures. The second piece is through the ethos, which is the credibility piece. And the third part is the pathos. And the pathos is all about the storytelling piece. So naturally, if you want to influence somebody, if you can have the ethos, the pathos, and the logos, it means that you can have that charisma. You combine those elements with those voice elements that I mentioned, and that to me is somebody who is charismatic.
That's a great mix. You have that all, yes.
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely,
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay, that's great, yeah. Because at the end of the day, the voice is a bridge and it connects us.
Totally, absolutely. It is all about connection, It doesn't matter what language you're speaking. It doesn't matter about your culture.
Yes.
It's what you hear. It's the tones, it's the
sound,
feeling, it's the emotion, all of that. Yeah.
Let's talk about one of your favorite topics, local variety. What's one simple way listeners can start practicing a vocal variety from today?
So according to the Stanford Graduate School of Business, they have said that even just a 10% increase in vocal variety can have a significant impact on the audience's attention to and also the retention of the message. So what is vocal variety? Vocal variety is volume, intonation, pacing, pausing, and word stress. We need all of these. If you think about all these great speakers that we've talked about earlier, they are, and the speakers admire, they are naturally running through all of these elements of vocal variety. And this is what turns a good speaker into a great speaker. And in terms of how we understand it, I mentioned about recording the voice. If we record our voice, we're going to hear all of those elements of vocal variety. So, for example, the judgments, are we monotone? You know, we might make a judgment, I sound really boring. But it's all about intonation. So we need to think about how we use better intonation. Word stress. Am I stressing the key pieces of information when I'm communicating with people? So we need to find this. We do the recording. Again, as I said, this gives us the data. And once we've got the data, this really helps to elevate our ability to communicate effectively and with impact.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, that's great. David, we have the reading voice and then we have the speaking voice. In a world full of Zoom calls and teleprompters, we hear a lot of reading voices, of course. What's the difference between reading and speaking naturally? The key differences?
One word, energy. So we pick up on that. So for example, let's say we're doing a Zoom call and we're giving a presentation. Now there's always a tendency, and especially if you're quite rushed and you haven't really rehearsed, so you put the script next to, well, you lean it up against the computer, very close to the camera. So when people are viewing you, they see that your eye line is quite close, but not quite looking into the camera. Then you start reading. Also, the teleprompter, if you're not familiar with the material, when you start reading, you're just going to be slow and steady to get through the text. So an example, right? So you've got the script up against the Zoom, and you say something like, good afternoon, welcome to the meeting. Now, in today's meeting, we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to talk about A, and then we're going to talk about B, and then we're going to talk about C. And that's because you're focusing on the text.
Yes.
Move away from the text. You look into the camera. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you here today. Thank you very much for joining this meeting. Now, in today's session, we're going to talk about A. We'll then move on and talk about B. And then we'll finish up with C. Can you hear the difference,
of course,
right? So that's the
it's
energy.
More engaging and also a little bit personal. That you
Definitely,
you're talking to someone. It's not just that you're reading.
This is it. So once you start reading, the energy goes, and then that connection goes. You lose people, basically.
Yeah, exactly. that will be boring then.
Yes,
Yeah,
basically,
of course,
yeah.
Yes. David, do you have any quick fixes for sounding more relaxed and authentic on camera?
Sure. So getting back to the teleprompter. Now, a lot of the senior people that I'm working with, what we'll typically find is that the comms teams will write their script and they're not very familiar with the words. So the first thing I say is read it through. You've got to put it in your own voice. So just change the script to make sure that it sounds like you. It's your voice. That will help you to relax. The second thing is they need to read it through at least 4 or 5 times just to get the flow, to get that feeling. Now, if they are very studious, something that I teach people is it's a chunking technique. And what we do is we break the script down into chunks, into thought groups. And when we do that, it's an absolute game changer. If you're doing something like a keynote or a very high stakes presentation or a pitch, break it down, and that helps you to know where the pauses go. It helps you to understand the intonation. It helps you to understand the stress, all the key words that you need to get across. And when you've done that rehearsal and you're familiar, it just relaxes you. The other piece is if you're on camera. So just like this, an interview. Firstly, your posture is very important. Don't slouch because if you're sitting up, it allows the breath to come in and that gives your voice it makes your voice more relaxed. It doesn't feel strained. And so you can just relax into the interview. And I think treat it just like a conversation as well. And if you are appearing on video, as in a video camera is being put in front of your face, the way that I tell people to do it, you're looking through the camera, but just imagine that you are talking to friends or family. It just changes the feeling. It's not just looking through glass, but you're actually communicating with people. Absolutely. And again, that will relax you, the voice relaxes, the pacing decreases, and it's just a conversation. So those are my tips.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're great tips. Yeah, definitely. Because when you imagine there is someone sitting and you're having a conversation and just forget the camera, it's completely different. And otherwise,
absolutely,
you're getting nervous and you're looking at the camera.
You overthink it. You tend to overthink it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Standing out on panels. Let's talk those moments where airtime is short and impact matters and everything is live on stage, no recordings, so only that first time and you have to finish that. How can you make this moment, like interesting and special that you can stand out as a panelist? Is there any trick?
Yeah, well, the first thing is it's a balancing act, you see, because when people know that they're in the spotlight and they've just got one small moment, we've got to be careful that we don't dominate with the other people on the panel, because people will make judgments about you being a bit too pushy, be a bit too sort of over-commanding.
Yes.
So what I always suggest with people is to, first of all, know your panelists, have a meeting pre-panel, and just understand who's going to say what in terms of the questions that you're going to answer. So that way, not one person dominates. The second thing I would say is probably it's about being authentic as well. It's don't get caught up in jargon and cliches. And as well, try and add some data to your answers. It's that credibility piece that I spoke about earlier. Try and add that, because that makes you a knowledge expert, and that is also how you will stand out. But definitely don't talk over long and don't dominate and don't cut into people. Absolutely not to do that.
Okay, that's a great tip, yes. David, I have some signature questions for the podcast.
Okay.
The Empowered Brilliance moments. Are you ready for that?
Sure, fire away. Okay.
I love to ask my guests always these signature questions to just get a personal image of them as well and know a little bit more about them personally. Sure. So, happiness is something we all are chasing, I believe, and this is the ultimate goal. But everyone has a different type of definition of happiness because it is very personal. So I'm curious, what's your personal happiness? How do you define it?
I think for me, my personal happiness would be friendships. It's about forging friendships with people and community. I'm a people person. Obviously, I work in the communication skills space. But for me, it's about the friendships. That to me is my understanding of what happiness is. Yeah. There's another part of me which is a little bit more solitary, and my happy place is swimming. Because I spend so much time communicating, when I get into a pool or I get into the ocean, I put my head under the water and I can completely zone out, and it becomes a very meditative state for me. So that is another more selfish definition of happiness for me.
Yeah, it makes you get grounded.
Absolutely, absolutely. It just calms me and it relaxes me,
Okay, amazing. And then another one which I would like to ask you is success. Everyone has a different definition of success. For some people, is it more about earning a lot of money or having a great career? For others, is it more to be loved or love, being with your family, or it depends. I mean, success is also very personal.
Sure.
So what's your personal definition of success beyond achievements?
Very good question. I mean, you know, when you're younger, you're chasing success. You're trying to get your foot on the career ladder and all of that. So you're driven by that, the monetary success and trying to do well at your job. As I reflect back, actually, for me, success, coming back to the idea of friendships, reflecting on this is that I have had friendships with people since I was at school up until now. And that, to me, is the success, because we've managed to come through so much together. We've seen marriages. We've seen friends having children. We've seen bereavement in the family. And all the time, this core group of friends that I've had throughout, from the age of about 15 to now, that, to me, is success. We've weathered problems and we've got through them, and that to me is my definition of success.
This is wonderful, because definitely this is the real thing in life, like
totally.
You know, especially when something which you can keep it like through all the years. Real friendships
absolutely.
Is worth more than anything else in life. Definitely. Very nice definition. One person, past or present, that you admire or are inspired by?
Well, both admire and inspired would be somebody called Matt Abrahams. So he works in the communication space as well, and he works at Stanford Graduate School of Business. And he's a keynote speaker, he's an author, he's a podcaster. And I have followed his work for years, and he's absolutely wonderful. I love the work that he does. And I was actually blessed. Last month, I got to meet him in person in Hong Kong. And he happened to be in Hong Kong, and we met.
That's wonderful.
And we had a wonderful conversation. And he, considering his success and how well known he is in our space, he's so humble, he's so genuine. So I really had a little bit of a fanboy moment when I met him. So I really look up to him. Matt Abrahams, wonderful man.
I will watch his podcast.
Absolutely.
That's a good tip. David, if you had a superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it to empower others?
If I had a superpower, okay, I'm going to put my neck on the line here. If I had a superpower, I would want to have something like a magic wand or lasers that could come out of my fingers, and I could try and get rid of toxic masculinity. If we look at what is going on in the world today, if we look at the problems that we're all having, I don't need to go into all of them, but all of the issues that are happening in the world, and we're finding it primarily is being created by and fomented by men. Toxic masculinity. So if I could have a superpower, what I would like to do is, with people that I come up against who are like that, I could zap them, but the extra power would be, once I'd zap them, they would have the power to go forward and carry on doing that. So I'd start a small movement to get rid of toxic masculinity. I think that would be a great step. Wouldn't it? For everybody.
For everybody, absolutely. The energy will shift completely in the whole
And if
world.
it was successful, it would probably leave about 3 or 4 of these people solely on their own.
On a desert island.
Exactly.
They can go there
Exactly.
with the narcissistic personalities and everything. Okay, that's great. And finally, stepping into your own brilliance. How do empowered and brilliant show up in your life, and how do you play with those energies?
Empowered and brilliance. Well, first of all, I love the name of your podcast.
Thank
It's
you.
Wonderful. For me, I mean, I have spent 35 years in that field of empowering people to be great communicators, to be able to speak with honesty, with integrity, and to really get their point of view across. And so I think the empowerment and also the brilliance part I'd like to say is, as I mentioned, the person I was working with who 8 years later I still go and see her and I work with her when she's delivering keynote speeches. That to me is the brilliance piece. So I empower people and then I have the honor to be able to go and see them standing on a stage and watch them in their brilliance. And knowing that I can just give that small gift to people with my knowledge and my skills, that is empowerment and that's brilliance.
This is amazing. This is really wonderful. I mean, you're helping people to get their brilliance out from inside of them, the strength they have, but you're helping them
Absolutely. I'm just
to
passionate
know that.
about it.
Because this is something you always need a coach to show you your strength, because some people have it, but they just need a kick.
They just need to understand how they sound, and once they know how they sound, the power begins. So
amazing. David, that was such a wonderful and inspiring conversation with you. Thank you so much for being here on the Empowered Brilliance.
Amazing. Thank you
really,
for inviting me.
It's such a great pleasure. And for people who want to attend your workshop or find out the next talks you have, how can they find you?
So they can find me. My company website is called allvoicetalent.com, and the All Voice Talent, that's all one word.
All Voice Talent?
Allvoicetalent.com.
We will show it here on the screen.
Right,
so
okay.
everyone can go and visit the
Wonderful.
website and contact you,
Yes, absolutely. So you'll find out basically all my offerings. It has the workshops that I run, the one-on-one coaching sessions that I offer, and also the 3 best-selling online video courses that I have.
They are really great, yes.
But also, I mentioned earlier about vocal variety, and I've also created a free offering which is called the Public Speaking Bundle. So if people want to go to my website and get that, that can really begin their journey for trying to understand how they sound. So it has videos, it has top tips, and it also has a self-assessment form. So everything is there for them to practice and get to really understand how they sound.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, everyone visit David Pope website and attend the workshops. They're really amazing and great. I have been attending one of his workshops and it was really fantastic. And where else can we find you? On your social media platforms and
if you go onto my website, you'll find all the links to the social media. But if you just want to join with me on LinkedIn, people can find me as David Pope, BBC trained executive voice coach. But what would be lovely is if they can actually mention that they heard us on this podcast together.
Right.
So it's always wonderful to know that your listeners connected through listening to this podcast.
Yeah, visit David's website and of course connect with him on LinkedIn, and he will be helping you to become great speakers. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this powerful episode with your network. Keep showing up and keep speaking your truth. Step into your own brilliance. Until next time.